Welcome to Beyond the Caseload, Mission, Laughs, and Life at PPT, where we talk honestly about life in pediatric therapy, the chaos, the laughs, the growth, and the moments that make it all worth it. Your hosts are Regina, a speech-language pathologist and rehab director of West Palm Beach, and Tara, HR director, bringing you real conversations from Beyond the Caseload.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Beyond the Caseload. On today's episode, I have with me Miss Rissa. She's a CFY from our Lake Worth Clinic. Today's episode is called The First Year of a Therapist. Rissa has been with us for over a year now. She was a student with us and a SLPA at the same time. And now she is a CFY with us. So welcome, Rissa.
Thank you for having me, Tara. I'm so excited to be here.
Yay, it's my pleasure. So my first couple of questions are about how that worked when you were a student and working as a SLPA at the same time. So how did we manage that and what was that like?
Honestly, I got really lucky because I know for some people it doesn't always work out that way. There's some schools that just will not allow that, but it worked perfectly. This was my final internship that I had to do for school. It also worked out that we had therapists here and we had you to kind of help navigate how we can shift the schedule where I could intern for my first few mornings and then in the afternoon was when I could work my SLPA hours. And it also helped that I already had so many hours from previous internships that it worked out that I didn't necessarily have to worry about going to get enough internship hours. Is my school going to be okay with this? So honestly, it was a little bit of luck and a lot of perseverance and, communicating between my supervisors with PPT and even my school on how this was going to work out.
Yeah, I remember when we first were talking and interviewing you thinking like, okay, this is going to be a puzzle that we have to piece together. And luckily we were able to figure out a schedule that worked best for you and for us. I mean, it was great to be able to have you working and luckily you had your SLPA license during your schooling as well. So that was awesome. So how did our onboarding process work for you? Did you get ramped up slowly? Did you have a full caseload? How did that work?
So for me personally, as a SLPA, what worked out was they kind of didn't throw me directly into the lion's den, but they did give me a few kids, not necessarily my first day, but my second day. I remember I think I only had three kids that I would see, and then they were typically easy kids that I've already had experience with working in previous internship settings. So I feel like during my onboarding process, I was kind of eased into it where, in one day I would see three kids, and another day I would see four or five kids. And then the following week, we would increase it until my caseload eventually became what it is now. I would see multiple kids. So it wasn't hard. And it helped that I had experiences in previous internships on how to navigate it. But I want to say my onboarding was pretty easy. And again, just open communication really helped.
Awesome. And did you and your supervisor meet weekly or what were the check-ins like? What was the process for that?
Yeah, so we had weekly meetings every Monday, and shout out to Lori Goldberg, who was my slip supervisor at the time. So weekly, just on how my slip days were going, any challenges I was experiencing, any advice I needed on specific kids, and really when to schedule out any re-evals I needed for my kids at the time.
Okay, awesome. And at the same time, did you have administrative support?
Oh yeah, I want to say the administrative staff at PPT are the best. Again, shout out to Casey and Melanie because they work tirelessly around the clock on scheduling kids and really communicating with the parents on what I need, and especially for any, Spanish parents, if I need a translator, Melanie's always there to translate for me. So with their help, I feel like it's definitely helped my days here at PPT so much easier. If I have a last minute cancellation, they're very quick to just fill in with that spot.
Awesome. And do you have documentation time throughout your week? And do you feel like you're able to get some of your notes done during the day? How does that work?
Yeah, I definitely have a few documentation times throughout the week. I definitely try to get my notes in as I
Hmm.
can. Some weeks are a little different than others. Sometimes I need that documentation time, take a breather if I have a challenging kid at the time. But usually that's when I do a lot of my notes. Now, as a CF, I usually take that time to start or work on any evals that I may have during the week.
Okay. And when you completed your school and graduated and you became a CF, did you feel that we had prepared you to administer assessments?
Yes, definitely. I really felt prepared to take on what worked really well again. And I say this whenever someone asks me my experience working here at PPT. I feel like my internship process and my time as a SLPA really trained me on how to work my job, my quote unquote job
Hmm.
as a future speech therapist, now my CF. So when it was time for me to begin assessments, I just felt like I was continuing my internship all over again. So
Okay.
it felt like there was no break for me. Just like,
So
oh,
it's just like
let's
you
just
just
keep
went from
going.
one day to the next. Yeah,
Yeah, the
got it.
only difference was that internship supervisor at the time, Miss Dana, wasn't in the room with me. At that point, it was my turn. It's a
Your
little
training
scary.
wheels were off.
Yeah, it was like baby birds out of the nest, time to fly. So it was a little scary at first, but I definitely felt like I was prepared.
What do you think in your first year was one of the best experiences that you've had
And
working at PPT?
oh, that's a hard one. I would say, I think, I don't know if there's like a specific moment, but I think the best moments I've ever had is when a child achieves a language milestone. You've worked, for example, it's so little for those who aren't, speech language pathologists or OTs or PTs to understand this feeling, but when you hear your child who you've been working on for months say their first word or they take their first steps or they, get some sort of motion correct that you've been working on with them, I feel like that's the biggest joy I've felt. Like that's the most excited I feel is when you see it because you work so hard with them. And then to see the parents' faces when they
Oh,
achieve that
yeah.
is probably the best.
Yeah, it's so rewarding to know that you helped facilitate that.
Right. Right. And that's
Yeah,
primarily why I entered this field was one, I want to be able to help those people achieve, have the chance to have a voice in this world.
right. What advice do you have for somebody who's perhaps starting their first week?
I would say one, hang on, because you're in for a roller coaster. I would say my top three advice, other than that, is don't count something out. Because for me, I didn't think I was going to love private practice. I thought I was going to be in school for my entire career or majority of my career. But then when I came to PPT, I love the atmosphere. I love the caseload that I have because it's never the same thing every day. So I'm glad I said yes to PPT because then I never would have thought I would be in this setting right now. And I guess the third one is just find yourself a group of people in either your cohort or in your internship just to spend the time, talk to them about your day or your caseload because you honestly learn so much from everyone. And that's what I really love is to collaborate with our OTs here, our PTs, or other speech therapists. Always collaborate with everyone around you and find those people in your field.
Okay. And do you feel like the year was successful? And do you feel that you have grown as a clinician?
Yes, definitely. This whole year has been a whole year of change. Honestly, looking back, I didn't know a lot of the things I know now. And so I feel like as the days go on and you may not feel it, you slowly build on those skills without you knowing. And then by the time you look at yourself in a year's time, you're kind of like, wow. And you kind of just find yourself thinking back to it when you're explaining a concept to a parent or you're talking to other speech therapists or you're treating your child and you look back on yourself and you're like, wow, wait, I didn't know how to do this a year ago. So
Because it
definitely.
feels just like part of your day, right? It's something that used to be challenging and hard is
Yeah.
now just part of what you do. I think about it too. Many years ago, I had back surgery, and I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, my back hurts so much all the time. And then I had the back surgery, and I forgot that I ever had back pain,
Right.
because you're healed, you feel better. So it's sort of the same thing. The things that used to be so hard and so challenging are just regular, and you don't
Yeah.
remember the days of, you remember them, but you don't feel them. And so it gets lighter and you feel like, oh, I can do this because I'm doing it without
Yeah.
any help.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's definitely just you keep pushing on. I know there are days that are challenging, there are days that are easy, there are days that are awful, there are days that are great. And you just kind of push on and find your people, either in your workforce or in your cohort or in your internship group, because they're really the people who get you through those days. And again, just learning so much from one another that you don't really get. I was talking to another therapist the other day about, I think it was like a treatment tool, and I had never learned about it in grad school. And, you know, there are definitely moments you just don't learn in a classroom or in grad school
Also, when
setting.
you have a little person in front of you that's not adhering to what you thought was the right way or the recipe or whatever that was taught to you, and you have to completely change it up.
Right.
I mean, it's every day is a new day.
Pretty much. And again, this is why I love the field. It's just never the same every day. Not only do you learn a lot about your clientele, but you learn so much about you as a clinician that I can imagine what next year is going to look like for me.
Well, we're excited to see what next year will look like for you and have you grow with us. And we're so lucky to have you. And thank you for being on our podcast today.
Thank you again for having me. It's been so much fun.
You're welcome. And thank you all for tuning in. And we will see you next time on Beyond the Caseload.
Thanks for listening to Beyond the Caseload. Before we wrap up, a huge thank you to our sponsor, Galileo for Kids, a science-backed whole-body vibration supporting strength, balance, and meaningful progress in pediatric therapy. If today's episode resonated with you, share it with a colleague or a friend who could use it. And don't forget to follow so you never miss an episode. Until next time, take care of your kids, your caseload, and yourself, because there's always more beyond the caseload.